Hey guys, welcome back to Glam-me-up. Today's video is going to be showing you my foundation routine. Sometimes I do change up my foundation routine, but if I find something that I like to stick with it. I really like this foundation routine that I've been using, so I'm definitely going to be sticking with it for a while. It is a very dewy, fresh look, but it's not too oily or shiny. It keeps your skin matte where you want it to be matte, and it also highlights your skin nicely. I'm going to be showing you some ways that you can cover up any blemishes or imperfections that you have. And I'm also going to show you some ways to make your makeup stay on longer. It is pretty quick to do in the morning. It's not one of those long foundation routines that take forever. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Okay, so this is my face completely without makeup. The first thing that I do is apply L'Oreal Paris Studio Secrets Professional Base. This is a Magic Perfecting Base, and it's just a light pink color, and it's a creamy gel texture, and you only need a little bit of this. This base pretty much works fine for me. I have kind of dry skin, maybe a little bit combo. If you have oily skin, I recommend definitely getting a mattifying primer. That way it's going to mattify any shine that you have on your face and make your foundation last longer. But this one just works fine for me since I have kind of dry skin. I don't need something too much to mattify, but I do like something that's going to keep my foundation on longer. So this one works pretty good for that. So I apply my foundation with the Sonia Kashuk blending sponge. This is just the purple one. If you buy it now, it's blue. This is the older version of it. And this is just like the Beauty Blender. It's a dupe for it. It's pretty much the same. It's just shaped a little bit different. And I'm going to be using my CoverGirl Nature Luxe foundation, and this is in Aspen. This sponge works best if you wet it. You can use it dry, but it's going to absorb too much foundation, and it is going to waste a lot of product. So I just take a spray bottle and I wet it. And then I just kind of squeeze out the extra on a towel. And then I take about this much for one cheek. I've got kind of a hole in the middle of my sponge because when I was washing it, I broke it. So you have to be very careful when you're washing it. And I do have a review on this blending sponge. I will link that below from my blog. It was from my beauty tip of the week for how to apply foundation like a pro. And this is just a really fast way to apply your foundation. It blends it really well. It's much easier than using a brush, and there's no streaks or anything, and it is really fast. So I'm just going to take another little squirt and do this side. This foundation isn't full coverage. It's kind of medium, maybe light. If you do have problem skin, you want to definitely get something more full coverage. Using the water with the sponge makes it kind of less coverage, I find, because I think it kind of blends the water in a little bit. Maybe I should be using less water, I'm not sure. But it definitely makes you have more of a dewy finish. And I'm just going to take a tinier squirt right like that and put that on my nose. And since this is shaped with a point, it's really nice to take the point and go around your nose with it to really blend it in, because it can get kind of cakey around that area. And I do go over my eyelids lightly with foundation just to cover up any freckles or veins that I have there. And I take another little squirt and just put that on my forehead. I really don't use much foundation. You could layer this foundation if you did want full coverage. But I don't like to cake up my skin too much. And I like to use as little foundation as possible, but still cover up, because I do have redness on my cheeks and stuff, and occasional blemish here and there. And then I just take the side of it like this and blend it into my hairline. And then you can also take the side, since it doesn't have foundation on it, is why I'm using that. And then just blend around my eyebrows, and around my mouth, and then down my chin. Okay, so that is it for the foundation. So now I move on to concealer. I really love the Hard Candy Glamoflauge concealer. I've done a review on this. I will link that. And I also really like the MAC Studio Finish concealer. You can use this under the eyes because it is maximum coverage, but I don't really have dark circles that bad, so I just like a little bit. So I am going to use the MAC Studio Finish just because I find that it's easier to apply under your eyes. And I just take a tiny bit and blend that underneath my eyes. Just take a little tiny bit. If you do have bad circles or anything, I definitely recommend using the Hard Candy one underneath your eyes. Alright, now I'm just going to take a little tiny squirt of this, just barely, to where it even comes up out of the tube like that. And then get a little bit on my finger. That's all you need for one blemish. And then I'm just going to cover up this mark I have left over. And I just pat that around it. You don't want to pull it because then it's just going to pull it off. You just want to pat it really lightly and then blend it around your skin. And then I've got another one up here. And just blend that out. Sometimes if I'm red, I apply some under my nose. I don't like to put too much product around there since that can get oily, so I don't usually put concealer around there. Then I'm just going to take a concealer brush, and this is the Sigma SS194. The name has changed. I don't know the new name for it though. And then I'm going to take a little tiny bit on the brush, and I'm going to go back over this mark here. And then just tap it with my finger. If you have an acne mark left over after one is healed and it's kind of like scab or maybe it's kind of dry, I recommend using a concealer brush because it has a little tiny bristles and it can really get in between the skin and put the concealer. If you're just patting over it with your finger, it's not going to get down in the cracks or anything if it is dry. So it is going to be good to use a brush for that. But if it's not dry at all and it is like a new mark, use your finger because it's really going to blend it better. So that conceals it pretty well. Plus it is more sanitary to use a brush instead of using your finger, especially around blemishes and stuff. Alright, now I'm going to take my MAC Mineralize Skinfinish Natural, and this is in light medium. It is too light for me, but since this is like $30-some, I don't want to buy a new one for the summer. But for some reason, it still doesn't look light on me when I apply it over my foundation because I am going to use bronzer and stuff. So I recommend definitely getting one that matches your skin, but if you've already got one from the winter, I wouldn't just buy another one, just use more bronzer. So I'm using my e.l.f. Kabuki brush. I have a review on this too, and I will link that. And I just get a little bit on the brush like that, and I start right here on my cheeks and just blend that. Definitely get it under your eyes to set that concealer. And then put some on your nose. And around your mouth. I find I get a little bit oily down here. And then just buff a little bit on your cheeks. And then some on the T-zone and on the forehead. And this has really great coverage. I've even used this before instead of foundation, just using this, and it works really well. But over top of the CoverGirl Nature Luxe foundation, it really adds some good coverage. I don't really like to use a full coverage foundation because I find that it clogs up my pores really bad. That foundation does not clog it up as good because it does have cucumber extract in it and it's not as heavy. It's a light foundation. So I find that that works better. And then I just add like a full coverage powder over it and it makes it full coverage. So that really mattifies the face. It definitely sets the concealer. Add a little bit extra around places you put concealer. Sometimes I also like to take a large fluffy brush like this one. This is a big one. And take a little bit of powder and just go under my eyes with that. And then also over any blemishes where I put the concealer. Anytime you have any cream product, you definitely want to set it with a powder so it's going to stay. Any kind of foundation or concealer or anything like that, cream blush, you always want to set it with a powder so it's going to last all day. You definitely want to set the concealer under your eyes with the powder because it's going to kind of cake up right here if you get oily, or it can settle into the fine lines under your eyes, so you really want to set it with a powder good under there. And I like to take it down my neck. Always blend your foundation down your neck. You don't want to have a harsh line here, and make sure it's really blended around your jawline, and even make sure it's blended behind your hairline right here because it could have a line here and you might not see it because your hair or on your ears, so you definitely want to blend that good on the sides. Alright, now I'm going to take my Nars Laguna bronzer. This is my favorite bronzer ever because it's matte, it hardly has any shimmer, and it works really well. It's the perfect brown color. And then I'm just taking a big fluffy blending brush like this Sigma SS151, and that is the old number again. And I take about this much, and I start right here in the hollows of my cheeks, and I blend it towards my hairline and then up to my temples. And then I take a little bit and blend it down to my jawline. And I'm just going to take a little bit more and put it in the hollows of my cheeks right here and blend it up to my temples and then down on my jawline. Kind of making like a 3 motion like this. This way it's brightening up your cheeks with the bronzer and it's also contouring some too. This brush really sheds back. Let me know if you guys have this problem with the Sigma powder brush too. And then I put a little bit above my forehead like that, and I take a small bit down my nose and on my chin. And then I put a lot of it on my neck to blend it well. And even under my neck here. And then down to my chest. And that's it for bronzer. You don't want to put too much bronzer on because it's going to make you look kind of scary. You just put a little bit and definitely do the 3 motion. You don't want to just put it all over your face because the sun's only going to hit in certain places. And I like to contour with my bronzer too. Alright, then I'm just going to apply my blush. And I like to use the NYX blushes. They're really good. This is in Peach. And then I take my Sigma F10 powder blush brush. And I just take a little bit and smile. And I apply this right here on my cheek. Then I take my Revlon Color Stay Mineral Finish Powder as a highlight. And this is in Brighten. This works really well. It's not too expensive and it is a really good highlight. I like to use my e.l.f. blush brush with this. It's a really small brush for being a blush brush, so I don't like to use it for blush. So I use it for highlight and I just swirl a little bit around. And then I put this right on top of my cheekbones right here and then up to my temples and right underneath my eyebrow. This really brings out your cheekbones. It's a really nice highlight. It's kind of like a pinky shade. And then you can even take some down the bridge of your nose and right on your Cupid's bow. This is a really nice highlight. So that is all for my foundation routine. It's a very dewy look, but it's also matte. It's not too shiny or anything. And it has the contoured cheeks and the blush and everything. Then I usually move on to my eyebrows. So if you want to see how I do that, I will do a separate video on that. I like to do my eyebrows after I do my foundation on because I'm using brushes and stuff. It can kind of mess up the hairs when I'm blending. So next I would normally do my eyebrows. So please leave me a comment below if you want to see the eyebrow tutorial. So that is it for my foundation routine. I hope you all enjoyed. I will also link below some previous blog posts that I've done explaining my old foundation routines. They're all still really good. I just kind of adapt them and change them a little bit depending on what my needs are. So if you want to check out some other ones, if you have different skin types and stuff and you want to see some more good products for your face, then I will link those below. And I will also link below any reviews that I have on these products that I mentioned. And don't forget to check out my blog for all products and links to those products and where you can find them. Don't forget to check out my previous video that I just uploaded, and it's closet organization and storage, and it kind of takes you along with me while I clean out my closet for the spring. So definitely check that out as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye everybody.